Welcome back to Philippines Uncut. I'm Buddy Cunan. Tonight's topic is let's talk about solar power. And joining us still are Techi Kapalan of the Philippine Solar Power Alliance and Steve Malapas of Sunfish Asia. Welcome back, ladies, to our third and final segment. So, Techi, very interesting stuff that Cindy said about, kits for the home and very affordable, actually, about 100,000, 120,000 for a 1 kilowatt kit. And, it's a huge chunk of your bill. Now, let's talk about practical.
Okay.
So, solar power can only work during the day.
Yes.
Ergo,
yes.
you must have some sort of, if you want to go off grid,
Yes.
or you want it to really make an impact, a huge impact on your life, maybe it has to be something that is viable at night. And the only way I can see doing that is through batteries.
Correct.
What is the problem now with that?
Well, if you will recall about, I would say a year ago, Tesla launched their battery.
Yeah.
And they're the pioneers here because they started with Tesla cars, and that is an electric.
Yes.
So that is where the growth of the battery sector are moving fast because the electric vehicles are becoming more and more common in the car business. And this is where all the research and development on batteries are happening. Now, Tesla pioneered and introduced battery kits for homes. And they have launched it. In fact, Tesla announced that its production for next year has been booked already because there are more and more residential that, as you said, want to be off-grid.
Yes.
Now, as this kind of a solution is viable only for countries that provide incentives to new technologies. In the US, you can get as much as 30% tax rebate from it.
That's huge.
That's huge. That's, in the US.
Pay for itself then.
Pays for itself.
Yeah.
So in Europe, they are shifting the incentive from just pure solar on grid to solar with batteries. So that's why I'm saying that in the next 3 or 5 years, the battery costs are going to drop in the same way that the solar panels did in 2011. It's a matter of time because the incentives are now shifting to batteries with solar and batteries together, or what they call storage system.
Storage, yes.
So it's moving into that direction. Today, it's still 40% more if you add batteries
That's
into
huge,
your cost. So if
40%
if your solar on grid is about 100,000, you pay 140,000.
Just for the batteries.
Just for the batteries. In the on-grid regime, in the on-grid section, that's going to be a lot of cost on your part.
For sure.
But when you're in the island, that's not much because your cost of diesel in the island that powers your electricity is more expensive than your solar with storage.
And the problem with batteries, aside from being expensive, I understand previously there was an efficiency issue and also size issue.
Yes.
Like you had to have like a room full of batteries.
Yes, yes, that's right, that's right. In 2006, when we were doing off-grid electrification in the far-flung areas of Mindanao, the size of our battery were like the size of a speaker. In the Tesla launch, it's only a size of a small box that is aesthetically integrated into your walls.
Nice.
And if you watch it on the YouTube video, you will see how fancy and aesthetically integrated their solar batteries are.
When are we going to see that here?
I think it's still we're still into that Motolite battery thing or the bigger. But I think more and more the lifestyle is moving into more practical and they want to be off-grid. There is a tendency for some of the solar wants to be off-grid. So I believe that by next year, and that's why Cindy said next year is going to be a big year because that Tesla solution are going to get into this country slowly. And as we shape the policies in the coming years, I think the support for solar will shift slowly to storage. That is what's going to happen because we have to really find solutions for storage, to be able to store the battery and the sunlight that we are able to generate.
I think that's really the holy grail of solar. No? I mean, it was the cost first of the panels and the storage. Now you've solved the problem of panels.
Yes.
It really is the battery problem, which is not a problem, but the
challenge.
Cindy, what is your let's say people are watching, probably saying, okay, I might as well wait another 2-3 years before I jump into the solar thing because, as Techi said, technology will have jumped so much by then. What is your your response to that? People
My
say like
view on
that.
that.
No, no, of course, from business, you want people to buy already, no? Install.
Yeah.
But people are might be
Out of
saying, hey,
thinking,
let's wait a
yeah.
few years.
Yeah. Well, it really goes back to why would people want to go solar? What is the motivation that you should get into solar? And for me, number one would be savings. Okay. So why wait 3 years for you to get your savings if you can have it now? That's one. Secondly, the threat of climate change. For
course,
me,
absolutely.
that is the bigger burning platform that we should really, really look into. That why people should move into solar and renewable energy. There's a bigger threat here that we should all be responsible for. And I think that we already have the technology, and it's accessible. So why not grab it now and make an impact into the world?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
And,
So
yeah, continue.
so if people get into this, it's really a win-win for all. You save money, and you also save the environment, and eventually contribute to thwarting
Sure, sure.
global climate change.
Sure. Now, Tetsi mentioned government support. As an entrepreneur involved in the solar business, what kind of support are you looking for, or would you hope for from the government?
Well, really, I think clear legislation on a lot of things. There are a lot of gray areas still in this RE law.
Sure.
Number two would be probably access to cheaper financing. Yeah, because this is really a long-term investment.
Yes, yes.
And for us to be able to survive the industry, we should have the support of the government, just like I think
Yes,
the United States.
as Tetsi mentioning, right? In the
Yeah.
EU, in the US, the
The
support
US.
really all out.
Really,
all
really.
out. No,
And
on the
I-
consumer side and on the manufacturer.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think, in December,
Yeah.
the leaders are going to convene in Paris.
Yes.
They're going to be starting to talk about climate change again because, as you will recall, about 2 years ago, the talks failed when there was no agreement on
Yes.
how we're going to reduce the emissions and how government are going to respond. This year, they're going to try again because France is the host now, and in Paris, they'll try to kind of find a solution because we're really, really going beyond the 2 degrees. We should not cross that because if we cross that, it becomes irreversible. So what is the significance of that conference? A lot of countries are going to make commitments. If they're not going to cut their emission, at least they're going to put in more money into the pot to try and fund renewable. I think the challenge is for the Philippine government to use that forum to generate a lot of attention for islands like the Philippines and other Pacific islands and other countries like Africa who need that investment to be able to come to this country so that electricity can be clean and affordable. We are the most expensive electricity in Asia.
Yes, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And the reason why that is because it's true cost. It's not subsidized. It's true cost. In other countries, it is subsidized. What we need is for government to give incentives to be able to build the infrastructure that will more or less give us cheaper electricity in the future. The reason why we still continue to enjoy cheaper electricity is because our leaders in the last 25 years built the hydroelectric dams and the geothermal power plants, even if they were expensive. Now we're reaping the benefits. It's the same challenge. We have to build the infrastructure of renewable energy, not for us, but for the future. Because this is infrastructure. This is infrastructure. You got to be future and forward thinking and build the infrastructure now to be able to mitigate that rising cost of electricity that's going to happen.
It will happen.
Because
it's inevitable.
coal
Yeah.
and oil are finite resources.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
They're going to be consumed.
Exactly. And
But
like it or not, it's going to
like it or not,
power.
yeah.
I mean, now we're experiencing cheap diesel, affordable petrol, but all these things are going to go up. It's
Going to
inevitable.
go up because
Absolutely.
our population doubles.
Yeah. Yes.
and
yes.
your resources stays or even is reducing every year.
Yes.
So it's just, simple arithmetic and common sense.
Excellent.
So
excellent.
I think that is something that we would really need to push our government for.
Mm-hmm.
Take advantage of that meeting in Paris, position ourselves as a country that would want renewable in order to mitigate the rising cost of electricity. We are an oil importing country, and yet we have an abundant solar resource. That is what we have. Let's harness that and use that to be able to give our people cheaper and reliable electricity.
Excellent, excellent. Now, next year, big year. What are your plans for Sunfish next year?
Well, we're just going to be expanding our solar installations. We have a pipeline, a huge pipeline that we're working with right now. And we know that it's going to be a banner year for Sunfish next year. So we're excited about
Excellent.
that. Yeah.
Ladies, about a minute to close. Maybe last words. Let's start with Cindy.
So I just want to encourage people to actually start moving into solar energy. We have the technology, we have the capacity to actually build our own solar plants in your roofs, in your businesses. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of the abundant resource of the sun and save from it and contribute to the environment.
Excellent. Thank you.
Next year will be an important year for us because it is the year when we change our leaders. I think as you choose your next leader, I appeal to the voters to look at their platform insofar as how they will be able to reduce the emissions by using more renewable energy, and not just a promise, but programs. Look at the programs of the different candidates that are offering themselves as the next administration to see basically their commitment to the environment, not just planting trees, but reducing emissions and building renewable energy that will give us a more stable and clean energy in the next 25 years. So choose wisely, vote
Excellent.
wisely.
Excellent. And then contact details quickly for Sunfish. Contact.
Yeah, you can contact us at, email us at inquiry@sunfish.ph.
And your Facebook as well, Facebook page, all that.
Facebook is going to be up soon, so that's Sunfish Asia Energy Solutions.
Well, you can contact us at ph.solaralliance@gmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tetsi. And of course, Cindy, and good luck with your endeavors. And rest assured, we here in GNN and Philippines and Uncut are here to support you guys at PSP and, of course, Sunfish Asia.
Thank you also
Thank
for
you.
inviting.
Bravo.
Thank you.
So, guys, I hope you enjoyed our talk tonight on solar power. Join us again next here at the show. And that's next Sunday at 9 p.m. See you then.